Let's go back to basics. If you don't know me, I'm Jamie Glowacki, and I am the author of Oh Crap Potty Training and Oh Crap, I Have a Toddler. And I teach parents how to use curiosity and connection in their parenting instead of coercion and compliance. So when I say let's go back to basics, my basics are sleep, nutrition, connection, and big play. These are the things when I get a private client, excuse me, that I check in with. Because before we can look at behavior, before we look at potty training struggles, before we look at any struggles you might be having with your child, we check back in on sleep, nutrition, connection, and big play. So today I want to talk a little bit about connection because I find that this is widely misunderstood. So here's the trippy thing. We spend all of our time thinking about our kids, right? Like everything we do, once you have kids, everything you do is for your kids. Like even if you love to work out, it's typically so you can be a saner parent, right? Like we are thinking of meals all the time. We're constantly like, even the mental load that goes on behind the scenes, largely on moms, what's the new shoe size? What's the, how do their pants look? There's so much going on in our heads that is focused on our kid that sometimes we forget to actually have connection with them. So sometimes I'll say, especially with a mom who maybe stays home with her child, she's like, I'm with this kid all day long. Don't worry about connection. And I'm like, yeah, you're probably even in more danger of being disconnected because you think you're with your kid all day long. And it's just not possible to be connected all day long. It's really not possible. So when somebody says they give 100% of connection with their kids, I'm like, no, because we're only 100% total, right? So it's really important to connect with our kids so they feel our love, right? And so kids have these buckets or gas tanks that need to be filled. They have emotional ones, they have connection ones, and they have power ones. And we'll talk about that another day. But right now with the connection, you want to spend some special time with your kid. That's one-on-one time, just you and your kid, looking them in the eye. If you have several children, you want to try to carve time for each of them. And this doesn't have to be long. I think of it as a bouillon cube of connection, right? So it's this like intense, small thing that adds a lot of flavor to your life. It should be child-led. You should do whatever your kid wants to do. Let them be in control, which is also filling that power bucket a little bit, right? And you are not on your phone. You are not distracted. It's just this wonderful time. You should try to do this a couple of times a day. 5 or 10 minutes. It doesn't have to be long. You should also mark it as special time. Make sure your child knows. So what happens is I'll have parents who are trying to do this connection time and the kid isn't recognizing it and will even say like, we didn't spend any time together. So we need to remind them that this is special time. Yeah. Now, of course, there's beautiful connection that can be had in cooking together, setting the table. I really encourage parents to go back to chores and just regular family living when they feel strung out about parenting or when their kids are acting nudgy. So sometimes that's like helping with laundry. Is it going to get done fast? No, there's going to be a lot of stuff that's going to make that chore last a lot longer than it would if you did it by yourself. But sometimes that's a real connecting point of like teaching your child how to fold towels or them moving the heavy laundry basket. That can be great heavy work, which kids need and love. So those connection times don't have to be special time, but when you are making special time for your kid, it's really good to mark it with them and say, okay, now it's our special time. What would you like to play? And if your child won't let it go. So I hear that very often, right? Like, oh, I try to give them special time, but it's never enough. They want more. They never let me go. They never want it to end. That means they're in connection scarcity. So they're gonna hog it, right? They're gonna want more. So in that case, I would try to have shorter connection times throughout the day. And just so that they don't get into that scarcity mode of like, there's not gonna be enough. Another thing is you can really set a timer on your phone and ask the child, give them an option of two things. Hey, do you wanna do special time for 8 minutes or do you wanna do special time for 10 minutes? So they choose, again, filling that power bucket a little, but also getting some buy-in. Show them 10 minutes on the phone, set the timer. When the timer goes off, yes, I know it's upsetting. I know this is not your favorite thing to do, but we have to stop because mommy's got to go to work or daddy's got to finish the dishes, whatever might have to happen. But you tell the child what's going to happen. In these connection points, if you are using a timer, I don't recommend giving a countdown like you would, right? I don't recommend that. However, if you need to end and it's the timer goes off and you're in the middle of something, I would try to wrap up the activity. So let's say you're playing with baby dolls. I would say, okay, the timer went off. It's time to put the babies to bed. Do you want me to help you? So you can wrap up the activity so it's not so much marked by time. And you're like, okay, 10 minutes, I'm done playing dolls, right? Same thing with like the trucks can go to the garage, or where would you like to end this? Or do you want to keep playing? Mommy's got to go back to work, whatever that looks like. But you want to help the child wrap up the activity. Remember, kids don't tell time, so the timer doesn't have quite the same effect. It's just an arbitrary buzzer that's like, oh, it's ending. And even though like we let them choose, they still don't really understand the concept of time. But if they are not allowing you to end the connection time, it means they need more. So I would do shorter, but more frequent time. And again, let them know this is our special time. And this will go a long way, especially if you... I was going to say, especially if you're a stay-at-home parent or if you're a working parent. Well, that just about sums up everybody, right? But stay-at-home parents, you run into the risk of thinking, I'm with my kid all day long, so I don't need to do this. And then, or you run into the risk of just being your child's playmate all day, which isn't good for the child or for you. And I'm sure you've got household chores to do. And if both parents are working outside the home or you're single, of course, you have to kind of fit this connection time in. So I would do it at breakfast before you leave the house. And I would make sure when you get home, it's the first thing you do. I know that when we walk in the door after daycare, preschool, whatever, it's just a cluster, right? And everybody's got to do everything. You're trying to get dinner ready. But if you can stop and do 10, 15 minutes of solid connection time, that witching hour between 4 and 6 is going to go so much better. All right. If you found this helpful and have more questions or would like more help, I have free and paid resources in the description. And as always, you can leave a comment if you have a question, like, share, subscribe, and rock on. Have a beautiful day.